On Wednesday, there was the start of this stream. PlayStation was streaming out what looked like Death Stranding gameplay, but with a lot of cool black hands covering things up, and needed to hit a certain threshold of people watching before all the black hands went away and you could see the new 5th trailer for Death Stranding.
5?
Yeah,
yeah.
the 5th one. Okay. It's wild. The Office, I feel like, was a little bit split on that reaction. It seems like I'm in the bag for all Kojima stuff. There's definitely the camp of The Office that says, this is dumb, just show the trailer. And it is so frustrating to me. Like, oh, you're complaining about somebody doing something interesting with the marketing of their game? Like, I don't understand it.
Yeah. I like the concept. I like that, the stream and like hitting that point. But the one thing I didn't like was that you could see little bits of the trailer behind the black goop.
Yeah.
And like, so in a weird way, elements of the trailer were spoiled for me before I watched the full thing. I was like, oh, was that a motorcycle? Do you have motorcycles in the game? But like, it was like, so that was kind of weird. But I'm with you. I like kind of taking a strange angle to presenting like a trailer.
Why not? Yeah? Joe, what is this? What is this face you're making?
I just think it's stupid. I don't know what else to tell you.
Where'd you stand on like the Joaquin Mogren stuff? Like the guy wrapped up in bandages.
Also stupid.
But you love Kojima.
I love Kojima's games. Yeah.
Then you have to accept him for everything he is.
You have to like everything about him, always.
No doubt
I don't know.
about it.
It seems that like, and I've said something like this before, but like it's on some level when you have like an auteur creator, like I mean he's sort of like the David Lynch of the video game world, right?
David Lynch, but good, yeah.
Sometimes you get something like Twin Peaks Season 1. And sometimes you get things like Twin Peaks Season 3. And you can still enjoy the good and still be frustrated with the bad.
But just in terms of the marketing, like...
and also, marketing isn't a game.
It can be. It can still be fun. And I think he has fun with it every time. At least
he does, yeah. I don't.
I think a majority of the fan base does,
so
right?
you didn't enjoy the sort of the swap of Metal Gear Solid 2? Because that was sort of the marketing angle, right? Convincing players that you were going to play as Snake, and then the surprise of playing as Raiden. Like that didn't make the game more fun for you at all?
Oh, that's a good question. I was really frustrated by that in the moment. Like
all right.
in retrospect,
yeah.
Like I think it was a cool flourish, but again, that is still something I feel like is more contained within the game, right? Like there's a secret in the game that you don't want to spoil, so you just don't spoil it in the video. It's not like all of the trailers were like big surprise coming, only showing stuff from the tanker. Who knows what's going on? You know,
right.
Just like.
I see what you're saying.
I'm not articulating this well, but
no, I think you're doing fine.
To me, it seems like the concept of the like weird playing with your mind marketing stuff. I don't know why that needs to be such like an integral part of Kojima's games. When like I almost feel like it's just better to if it's a good game, let the game kind of speak for itself rather than have to like gimmick it up with a bunch of like opaque.
Teasing and exciting your audience. I think part of the fun, like some of the most fun I've had with Metal Gear games before they've come out, is trying to piece together things from the trailers, trying to predict what's going to happen, try and arrange things correctly. And with Death Stranding, when it's a whole new universe, not only that, it's a whole new universe where you don't know what the edges of the universe are. Like especially that first trailer where it's just, hey, there's whales on a beach and it says, I'll keep coming. It's like, well, what is this game going to be?
See, it's surprising to me that that's fun to you. Because to me, that's like taking a puzzle, dumping it out on the table and looking at the box to see what you're making, and there's just no picture on the fucking box. Like you don't know what pieces you're assembling. You don't know what anything relates to.
Well, that is what I think is interesting about this trailer, because I feel like things have finally come to, in Kojima speak. Things have like hit the ground, and it starts to realize like, oh, okay, now we're understanding like political factions within this world. It is to a point where the picture is just in focus enough to be like, I got it. I think I understand roughly what this game is going to be.
I do think that even there's a mystery box, like a puzzle box thing where. Do you think you needed to have watched the previous trailers? Well, honestly, kind of, yeah. Like, do you think you needed to have watched the previous trailers to really understand the premise of Death Stranding just from watching this trailer? I think you could understand what is going on in that, like what the overall theme of Death Stranding is just from watching this trailer.
I think you're right. I think like the last one at E3 was also pretty important for showing off Oh, no, we have character names. Hang
Fragile.
on.
Fragile.
We're showing off
Yeah.
kind of Fragile's point of view, right?
Yeah.
But then this one in particular, I think it sets it all up reasonably well, where it's like, hey, fulfill the president's dying wish of uniting the nation by going west and delivering your packages.
Right, that's why-
reconnecting
Finish what
societies.
Amelie.
That's why I don't
started.
necessarily
Yeah.
like buy into the like, oh yeah, let's try to piece together what's going on in Death Stranding from these trailers. I'm more into it because I really like the vibe that game is giving off. Like I don't need
Right.
to say, I don't need to understand what is going on in the trailer right now. I don't necessarily care because when the game comes out, I'll either understand it or it'll be like super abstract and weird. And either way, it won't really like. I don't need to understand Death Stranding right now. I don't have this like compelling urge to understand it from the very mysterious trailers that they have. But like watching those trailers, I was excited because it feels like this is thematically like interesting and I'm curious to see what happens.
Yeah.
But I don't like, I guess the part where you're piecing it together isn't like super interesting to me.
I also just think, looking back at Metal Gear Solid 5's rollout of trailers, I was frustrated with myself for not paying more attention in a way and not setting up a flare for things that you just see. I feel like they are hiding a lot of things in plain sight. I'm sure people are going to go back and watch these trailers once the game comes out and be like, oh my God, that's right there. Like I remember with Metal Gear Solid 5, they showed like that opening scene. There's that moment where it's like, wait a minute, doesn't the guy with bandages over his face have Kiefer's voice too? But like no one else was talking about it. It's like, all right, I guess not. Like maybe we mentioned it once on the podcast or something. But
Well, we just brushed it off.
yeah, exactly. It's
You
like,
know?
oh, it turns out that's a very important thing. And it's just right there. And I feel like with this trailer too, it's like, you know, there's the picture of the family where it's Sam, the main character, and the pregnant wife whose like face is smudged out. And then somebody else that might be the president. I was a little bit unclear about who that was in the picture. But like that type of thing, it could be super important, you know, and it'd just be that lightning rod later on of looking back at it.
Yeah, yeah. And I should say too, like I was referring, my rage earlier is a lot more about the marketing machinery that surrounds these kinds of reveals, because when it comes to like the actual trailer,
Yeah.
I pretty much agree with everything Suriel was saying. Like this is for once, I mean, last summer I wrote like an opinion piece on the site that was just like, stop all of the teasing and like show me what the game is.
And Kyle, you deleted that opinion piece, didn't you? Off the
Yeah,
site?
I violently disagree with that opinion. I want to go into Death Stranding as confused as possible.
But I feel like this trailer was in some, well, not specifically an answer to my complaint, but it answers that complaint.
We have a possible baseline at least now. I feel like
I can imagine what an hour playing Death Stranding feels like
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, and even sometimes maybe in a less than flattering way. Like I feel like the most interesting part of the trailer, if you're not super into the lore of this new universe, was that shot of him like running across the field, and then like the orange beacon comes up underneath him. It's like, okay, so they're detecting you. They can detect the last place where that backpack was.
They're
and
going.
then-
It seems like they're going after that backpack almost specifically,
Right, and, like,
because you're
knocking
dropping
materials out of it.
inventory off as you're taking damage. It looks like.
Yeah, they're trying to stop you from helping these cities connect, or like just communicating or relaying things in between the cities. But then it was that shot of when he's kind of like juking the soldiers and trying to like dodge away from, where I'm like, okay, there's the gameplay of Death Stranding. That's what I'm going to be frustrated with when I'm actually playing this thing.
Yeah.
That's the interesting part, is that like for all like we have this very nice cinematic flair, everyone looks fantastic, but it's like, oh, when you hit the guy, things pop out of him. Like,
No, I think, but
this
it's
is a
just
video
like
game.
in terms of wrapping your mind around it. Yeah, it is that. It is nice to have that moment of like, okay, this is the video game. I see. It's going to be like a good animation, but a little bit of a janky animation of the character kind of bobbing and weaving as you're trying to get around these soldiers, and then the twist, which I don't know if I fully saw coming, of then he starts just clocking them with his fist. I thought it was all going to be about dodging those guys for a long time.
See, in some ways, that's actually the disappointing part of this trailer to me, is even though I wanted like gameplay specifics, I feel like the specifics they showed me didn't really get me excited. I'm still excited for the game, but not just on the merit of like the details that they showed us today, or in the trailer rather, because like it, as far as the melee combat, as far as the third-person shooting, the bits of stealth that we saw, I don't see a whole lot there that seems distinct.
But what about just the idea of traversing this completely unknown world, a little bit like a game that Andy McNamara isn't the biggest fan of, but like a little bit of Breath of the
Joe
Wild,
either,
right?
right?
Like,
Yeah.
I am such a sucker just for realizing like, oh, this is like my favorite setup for a movie or anything in fiction, of just an Annihilation style scenario, right? Where it's like you have to venture out into the unknown. You have no idea what could be out there. It could be spooky, could be amazing. Have at it. Like that is just the best type of movie or game experience in my mind.
I also like how it communicated the very simple thing of like how you use the ladder and how you use the rappelling gear.
Yeah.
Like just being able to get up on top of structures using that as a mechanic is interesting to me, you know?
Yeah.
And I wonder if those are constant things that you have, or just things.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like you draw been a parallel to Breath of the Wild, which, I mean, I see that in the world. When I imagine the gameplay to this, I'm kind of hoping for something a little Metal Gear Solid 5 in the sense of it being important, your loadout screen being important. That you go out there and like, what gear am I going to bring with me? Do I bring my motorcycle? Do I bring my ladder? What kinds of...
Yeah, for
you
sure.
know,
You have to prepare.
yeah,
I hope.
yeah.
I bet they'll have that,
There's
right?
this, you need. I mean, again, very much like I don't want it to be a Metal Gear Solid 5, but just capture that essence of you choose strategically how you want to approach a situation, and then you get down there and on the ground, there are routes or solutions that support that approach.
Your ladder's only 43 feet tall, and you need a 46
Oh,
feet tall ladder.
I needed the 50-foot ladder, not the 43-foot one.
That facility, the bridge facility, I guess it's like a company or something like that. Does it? That hint that teases like something like that.
Yeah,
like that
like it's
looks
a
like your
hub.
base. Like that's
Yeah.
where your motorcycle is and stuff, and you can like
Right.
leave it behind.
And your
take it with
family
you.
owns the company? Is that the implication there with the
Because
Bridges?
Sam Bridges is his name, and the
Right.
company's
Yeah.
called Bridges, right?
Yeah.
So you'd think otherwise it's a weird. Hi, I'm Joe Game Informer.
What if Sam's just like that's just a coincidence with every character?
No
he meets?
relation. Sam Bridges, no relation.
Hang on, I'm sorry, this is weird on the podcast, but Kojima's calling me right
yeah.
now. Hang on a second. He wants to know, do you want collectibles in the world or not? Hang on. Yeah, he says it's really urgent. He has to know.
Sure. Yeah.
Yes?
No.
Joe, collectibles in the world or not?
Yes.
Yeah, we're going to go with collectibles. Okay, great. Thank you.
Were there collectibles in Metal Gear Survive?
I mean, everything was literally a collectible, and that you used it for crafting.
Okay.
You just found a bunch of crap and turned
Was
it
that
into
good?
like spears. No, that game was not good.
Don't play it.
Call him back. Call him back.
Is there something kind of cool, though, of like a Shadow of the Colossus style vibe, where it's like you're just exploring this huge world and it's barren?
Yeah.
A giant Troy Baker comes out of the ground. And starts
Yeah.
They'd show like a creature of some kind. It's like very dark, but there was like a big foot that came down.
Oh, those are the what are they called? The BTs.
The BTs, yeah.
Right.
Which are the like shadowy figures that
Yeah.
are kind of
The
ethereal. Yeah.
Beached things, apparently, is what BT stands
is
for.
that right?
Is what the Reddit says. I don't know if they're correct or where they got that from exactly, but they're going with beached things, which
All right.
I love a lot as, in theory, what's actually going to be out there for the supernatural force. That because you have, what is it? It's a very specific thing. The extinction factor, you can feel them, but you can't see them.
Yeah.
And that's why I say it's a spooky thing. And they
And
come
he
out
can-
in the rain, it seems like.
And he can
So
use his
he can feel
bridge
the BTs
baby.
because of the EF.
What's that?
You can feel the BTs because of the EF.
That's right. Yes, Kyle, the BB?
The bridge baby? He can
Yes.
use the bridge baby to help sense them or something?
Right. I mean, it's all very clear.
That's what, yeah, you plug into the baby.
You plug
and-
into the other side, right?
Which is scary because, yeah, it connects you to the other side. I love that they're scared about this power.
Also,
of
like
connecting to
I
a
like the
baby.
touch that the guy off screen complained that it made him ill.
Right.
It's like nauseating to do this to connect to a bridge baby.
Well, to be fair, babies are very gross and they
Yeah,
poop and
that's
pee
true.
constantly.
How do you think the baby feels about it?
I mean, I just think it's really smart to contain babies in one container, so like nothing that they do really escapes that pod. It's a very clean way to manage a baby.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm surprised that more parents haven't caught on to
Yeah,
the,
just
the
submerge your
bridge
baby in liquid.
approach. Yeah.
Just keep them alive somehow. I don't know.
Her cereal, you need to write a book called The Bridge Baby Method.
That's right. You just
one
throw a
page.
baby in water.
One page.
Get one of those Death Stranding jars.
Here's my pamphlet
Call it a
about how to
day.
raise a child. Oh wait, that would kill them. Oh wait, never mind.
So it seems like this timefall rain, it seems like everybody's really scared of timefall, which is triggered from the rain, or the rain itself is timefall and it just like ages things quickly. Is it
Sometimes
also
when
the
it
rain you have?
rains, yeah, things get dangerous. I think. is the
Right,
idea,
where it
'cause-
like ages the bird super quickly, and also like Fragile has that umbrella, which it was sci-fi, which makes a little bit more sense now. That if that touches her skin, there's a very serious consequence apparently.
Yeah.
Which is a fun idea.
Do you think that that's going to come into play with weird young Lindsay Wagner Bionic Woman versus old Lindsay Wagner?
Well, that's the biggest question mark, is what's happening with apparent time travel. There's shots like in the old trailer that look kind of more World War II. This almost looked World War One-ish.
Yeah.
And it seems like there's kind of ghosts that you're fighting, but I don't know if you're
But he
gonna
could still shoot them. Like they weren't just like images, you know.
Right, exactly. So
Yeah.
it's like, is it literal time travel, or is it just the idea that this Mads Mikkelsen character, I'm sorry, specifically
Cliff.
Thank you, Cliff, is just
Specifically?
Yes, somewhat like unstuck in time, and he's just connected. And he has this effed up thing, and he's just carrying forward. But he is a soldier from World War One.
It
I think
seems
Troy's
like-
character also. I don't remember, Heath or whatever was it?
Oh, you're talking
Troy-
about Higgs?
Higgs. Sorry.
Yeah, so Higgs, it seems like he's employing, like he's part of the radical faction that's trying to keep America torn apart, and then he's hiring Cliff, this kind of undead soldier man.
Who wants to go to the moon?
Yeah, all of the weird.
Did you take that to mean that you're actually going to be going to the moon in the game? Leo's nodding aggressively.
Hiding in
at the
plain
moon.
I think
sight,
you're going to
man.
the- yeah, I think you're
Why
going to
else
the
would
moon.
you say it if you weren't going to the moon?
I guess you don't drop that moon bomb
Even
unless you
the
can back
moon.
it up.
I
dude.
don't know. You're not going to beat Final Fantasy IV. Going to the moon.
All right, let's make
No
the
more
moon
moon
prediction
games.
right now officially. Joe, are you going to the moon in Death Stranding? Not DLC, base game.
Probably, yeah.
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 You're going to the moon, man.
I will argue that the moon will also be messed up.
Oh, interesting. Well, if it is,
Moon
like,
is also bad.
as the one trailer kind of implied, that the Death Stranding is like the entire Big Bang in reverse, that it probably would be the entire universe, right?
Yeah.
Which is a very fun idea. It's
Is
not
it-
like
is
Earth
that-
is just being hosed.
Is it new for this trailer to refer to it as the Death Stranding?
I don't think I'd heard that before.
I had not heard that
I
before.
don't think so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Who got the branding on that? That's a very good
don't know.
move. What else stood out to you, Kyle?
Die Hard Man.
Oh, that's right. Let's run down these characters because they're very fun. Also, just seeing new Kojima names, I'm very excited about.
By the way, I really.
How does this it's just so ridiculous. It's like Babelfish became sentient and
No,
started
it's
naming
fun.
characters
I
in the
like
game.
it because like names ultimately don't matter. I just played Trover Saves the Universe, and there's a character in that game called Doopy Dooperson, and that like, and it
That's
just
in a game called Trover
Yeah.
Saves. It's not trying
and
to
I
be.
think
But the
that's
thing
really
is like
good.
I like how I don't know. I find Die Hard Man much easier to remember than like
Yeah.
Bill. You know, like
Well, also just I
like the absurdity of
This
it.
is going back, but I love overthinking about Kojima names. Like Shadow Moses, I feel like is one of the coolest names for a location, and even just the quick reference to the city of Edgenot. I'm like, yeah, it's a cool sci-fi city
Yeah.
name, Edgenot. Hell yeah.
How's that
I guess
spelled,
I
do you
just
think?
I mean
I don't know.
it's an easy thing to make fun of, but it is stupid. I have to admit that these names are stupid, but I don't know. I kind of appreciate how like just overt they are.
Wait a minute. Now I'm thinking about this. When you say these names are stupid, let's start out with Sam, main character.
Sam
Cliff.
Bridges.
Really, there's a real Cheers theme going on here.
Bridges and Cliff also.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Of course. There we go. Now we get Fragile.
Yeah, which is a weird, disconcerting line of like, let's name our women Quiet and Fragile.
Oh, interesting. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
And that's Leah Seydoux character. Does anybody know how to pronounce her name?
I'm not sure.
She was from The Leftovers.
Oh, okay.
Oh, is she
Wait,
in
no,
that?
no. That's Leia Seydoux.
Oh,
was
no, not
in,
Fragile, or
she was
the
in
Mission
James
Impossible,
Bond.
Inspector, and yeah.
I'm talking about the next character, Mama.
Oh yeah, don't be confused. So Mama,
Not to be confused with Big Mama.
that's
God,
so
I didn't
close.
even make that
When that first popped up, it's like, oh, you can't get that close to Big Mama.
Between Mama and Big Mama and Die Hard Man and Hot Coldman, like there are deliberate Metal Gear parallels going on.
Oh,
here.
totally.
They're just going to call a character Boss.
Yeah,
His
it
name is
would've
going to
been
be
bad.
Boss.
Bass.
Not the Boss
Bass.
or Big Boss.
Well,
Big Bass.
Bog Bass.
It's pronounced Bass, actually.
he probably is the boss of the Bridges Corporation.
Yeah.
If they're still considered corporations.
Boss of the Bridges
It's-
boys.
That's going to be like a little Easter egg, right? Someone calling him boss.
Also-
Kinda,
Yeah.
right? And winking violently at the camera.
Okay, so the president,
Yes.
is she not Sam's mother?
I had that impression the first time I watched it as well. And also I thought that the president was also Amelie, but those are different characters because it seems like the
Right.
president's name is Bridget.
Right, which if she's Sam's mother, that means her name is Bridget Bridges.
We don't know. We're only getting that from like the picture,
We're
and she kind of
hoping.
has like
We're
an affectionate
hoping
way.
her name is
hope
Bridget
her
Bridges.
name
And
is
he
Bridget.
calls her Bridget.
You're
Who
right.
calls their mom by their first name?
Oh, good point.
Yeah,
Some
only
people do.
maniacs.
I don't know.
It's a different
Maybe
world.
it's a
Do you?
stepmom.
Do you?
No.
Call my mom Bridget? No. It's not her name.
But I hear you. I felt that too, Surya, but probably not. They probably just have some connection. That's why they have the photo taken together. But
Connection.
Maybe mother-in-law, honestly.
a certain someone in the office, I won't point fingers, but his name rhymes with Randy McNamara. He couldn't get over the line, "You're the president of Jackass." He's like, that's the dumbest line I've ever heard in my life. Like, it's a totally fine line in a video game trailer. Are my standards too low? Like, that didn't strike
maybe.
anybody as that dumb, right?
Do you
I
think
don't know.
Norman Reedus is like up-graveling his voice to sound a little bit more like Snake? Like, do it a little bit more Snake. Do you think like Kojima was like, give it a little more?
I think they
gravel?
have a filter in post. It's like a slider for pure gruffness. But I like the idea of like the United cities of America
Thank you.
are still kind of around and a thing, but clearly it's going to be at the start of the game. He doesn't believe in it. And then it's like, oh no, we can unify after all.
Hero's journey.
It's a story for today's era.
That's true.
So
Yeah.
I don't know if you got that.
No, I'm there.
And he says rebuilding America isn't going to get rid of the BTs.
The problem with America today is people aren't civil enough about
And there's too many hand footprints everywhere.
Well, there is that line about, like, I'm kind of curious about what the actual apocalyptic event was here, because they talk about it just being explosions, but then Sam, or is it Higgs? Someone has the line about, like, connecting the world with cables didn't.
Well, I think that's just more.
Yes, Sam said covering the world in cable didn't bring an end to war and suffering.
That's just talking about like fiber optics and like the internet. I don't think that's actually what brought it down. I think that's just more of a poetic way of talking about the age we're in right now.
Who knows?
I know. It's exactly that. I think
The cables led to
apocalyptic
acid
event
rain.
is
That's
just
what-
going to be the Death Stranding, right? Where everything starts decaying, and that's what's going to tear it down.
Yeah,
May-
what is it, though?
But what is the Death Stranding? Was the Death Stranding like there was a
It's
faulty
an
cable?
opposite Big Bang.
have
There's
to ask-
nothing left for debate here.
Okay,
we have to
never
ask
mind.
Higgs, because Higgs is the one who has an understanding of the Death Stranding. I've come to understand the truth of the Death Stranding.
Right,
he says.
and he's the leader, I guess, of the like sectarian warfare group.
do
You
you
sure
think?
that's Higgs who
Do you-
says that?
pretty sure.
Do we know his last name? Because I'm not unconvinced. It's like
Boson?
Not Boson. Yeah,
It's going to be Boson. I bet you're right. Okay.
Or he's gonna have a split personality. Like I'm Higgs and I'm Boson.
No, this is smart stuff.
Okay, that's right.
Okay, Mama, there we go, who's Amelie. Seems like the same character. Not?
What?
No, two different characters.
Really? Well, who's Mama then?
Mama's the young woman who kind of looks like Chell.
That's the lady that look.
Oh,
She's-
you're right.
She's
Yeah.
the one from the leftovers.
The one that looks
Margaret,
like-
Margaret Qualley.
Oh, okay, the one that looks like the
Qualley?
DMC5 character. It
Yeah,
seems like
yeah,
back
yeah,
at the
so, yeah.
base. Okay. Deadman. That's Del Toro.
Yep.
Everybody loves Deadman. I think Oprah's dating him. Heartman, Die Hard Man, Higgs.
who
and
is
then
just
Amelie.
the IT guy, kind of, right? Like the
Yeah.
I can't remember the Metal Gear name. Why am I drawing a blank?
Otacon?
Otacon. Maybe like an Otacon stand into a certain
Also,
degree.
do love that shot of the guy removing his golden mask to reveal he has another black metal mask underneath it.
Hell yeah. Okay, yeah. Sorry, militant separatist group was, of course, the phrase that was supposed to be rolling off my tongue, and they're called, as everybody knows, the Homo Demons.
Homo demons.
Yeah,
That's right.
beautiful.
Human
because
demons, right?
The sort of icon of Kojima Productions and the somewhere in this game is something they call Homo Ludens.
It's
Yeah.
like humans
that
that play or
astronaut
whatever.
thing.
Yeah. So like Homo Ludens is supposed to be that robo-suit thing.
Right, which you're gonna have to wear to go to the moon, probably, right?
And if you
What do
pre-order
you mean fun? That's fun.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
I did not make that connection until
Okay.
right now. You're going.
That's
You're
another
totally going to
connection.
the stupid moon.
Oh no,
Oh, brother.
Also, Kojima tweeted out a long statement about, it seems like the theme of the game. He's always big on his themes. Every Metal Gear had like the one-word theme going throughout it. God, can we try and remember? 5 was race. I remember that because thinking like, well, I guess it's about like the struggling of communication and language. And now this game seems to be about the struggle to communicate.
To connect with people.
Yeah,
This
physically.
connection is this one.
Yeah. So it's kind of just zooming out a little bit from the language specificity of 5. But then, oh God, what was it? 1 is Gene. Oh, I forget exactly how
I don't
it works.
remember the one word for 4. I remember that there was the concept of like no place to hide was the
Right.
like one of the unifying things. There.
Was it overlong for 4?
How dare you? Do you think
You can beat that game in like 3 hours if you skip the cutscenes.
That was a good point.
do people put too much attention on like the big themes that Kojima's going for? Like he's always is a visionary with his themes before the game comes out, right? But then it's like you play Metal Gear Solid 5. I don't think anyone's like, this is really getting to the core of race relations. Do you feel like this game's going to do a more successful version of getting to the core of it is about like connecting humanity, man?
No, I don't think he's gonna like. He's not going to be the one to convince people, like he makes that statement. I hope you, through this game that you find, or whatever the quote was, like, I hope this game helps you make connections with people or whatever it was.
Turns out tomorrow is in our hands. I'm writing Kojima's name for president for 2020. I don't know if anybody's with me, but
This game will convince us
find
to put down our
out.
cell phones, finally.
I think part of it, I mean, like, in some, especially in this regard, I feel like he's kind of coming off of a losing record. Like, if you're looking at MGS5 and some of the dropped balls there in terms of, like, thematic and gameplay follow through in some ways.
Well,
which,
especially
again,
because, yeah.
I liked that game a lot, but it feels like some of the things that game did. Some of the things about that game that did not work for me seemed like kind of elementary things about stitching together the story and the characters.
But you understand there were very bizarre circumstances for that game's development in particular.
Yeah, and I think it's like on one hand it's easy to just point the finger at Konami there, but I mean I think you also have to some degree point the finger at the person directing that game for 5 years.
Well, yeah, I agree in terms of what he was messaging, which I don't know if you remember, but early on in Metal Gear Solid 5's development, remember he kept saying like, "Oh, I'm doing some pretty controversial things, and if I don't pull this off, I'm going to be kicked out of the video game industry because the places I'm going with this game, you won't believe." And then we all played the game, and it's like, what is that? Like,
Is the
remember that?
controversial place like you're spending too much money, so you got kicked out of the game industry by the people you were taking money from?
Remember that line with quiet and you'll be ashamed of your words and deeds?
Exactly.
And
It's like, oh yeah, she breathed through your skin. Now I'm definitely
She's
ashamed.
just another version of the end.
I guess all I'm saying is that like this could come together, like thematically, this could come together in an interesting way.
Yeah.
What I'm hoping it doesn't do is that sense of, if you've seen the trailers for Death Stranding, you've basically seen a few seconds of every cutscene in the game, and it's all just sort of feels abbreviated and cobbled together like that.
Yeah. I'm hoping it's bold. I'm hoping that,
Like thematically?
yeah, I'm hoping that we've never played a game like this before. And like a friend of mine just texted me, he's like, "You think it's going to be fun?" I'm like, "I don't know if I care."
I feel like
I just want it to be crazy.
I don't know. I
and
think from what I've
weird.
seen, I think we have a pretty solid understanding that's going to be like sort of like almost at least, let's say 60-70% to a Metal Gear game where you're just kind of walking around, like you're doing a lot of sneaking, it seems like, because even in that early segment where he's like, before he starts fighting off all the guys in yellow, he's trying to sneak around them, but then he gets caught, and then here's combat.
Because
and you're
there's no
doing a
place
lot
to
of
hide.
third-person shooter. It's like a lot of the camera angles even look very similar to Metal Gear Solid 5, so I think it's...
I am hoping for like a more self-directed sort of goals and stuff like that, because Metal Gear 5, it was very much like, all right, I'm going to complete this goal, all right, drop in, do it, and get out. I hope I have like freedom to just kind of move around the world at my own pace and do what I want to do in whatever avenue I want to do it. You know, like I don't want to have to go in and out constantly. We'll see.
Right.
I don't know.
I do love that we have enough information at this point to actually have these discussions. When it felt just like pure speculation before. I am happy for the info drop that we got.
Yes, I'm so happy, hopefully, to be rid of those conversations. Like, I don't even know what's going on in Death Stranding. Like that thing that people have been saying for 3 years now. Of, wake me when there's gameplay. It's like, well, we have it, and it's starting to make sense.
And we barely even touched on it. Like November
my God.
2019.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was the biggest twist of the trailer.
Yeah, I did not see that coming at all.
If would you have guessed at this point in the year, or like at the beginning of the year, that Death Stranding would come out before The Last of Us Part 2?
No, I absolutely never would have guessed that.
This morning, I mean, even Kato and I
Still might not.
we were talking this morning about the like, there's the rumor that it's going to hit November 8th before like the actual reveal happened. And he and I were both just like, nope, that's not going to happen.
Right.
And I totally like ate my hat this morning. That was.
I know it's
I was
easy to
wrong.
always
not
take
wearing
this
it
path,
today.
but I'm always in the camp of like, we'll see. Games are hard. It might not come together. What do you think the odds are of it hitting that date?
What's the history of Metal Gear and getting delayed?
I was actually trying to look it up today. I don't think 5 was delayed. I was trying to remember if Ground Zeroes was, but I think 5 hit its release date. But 5, as you mentioned, was a bizarre.
Yeah.
I don't think 4 was delayed.
I remember there being a delay for 4, but
Yeah? Okay. I could be wrong. I don't remember.
At some point, the history of this, like, it's more of a modern landscape than a franchise history kind of.
Especially like
thing.
different publisher, different situation. But it's endlessly exciting to have a creator as bold as Kojima be given a crap ton of money from a company that backs its creators in a big way like Sony. Like, nothing's more exciting in the game industry than this.
I mean, he did announce, earlier this year or late last year, that it was going to take more time than he expected. So it's interesting that this date comes after that sort
Right.
of announcement.
After
gives me some
saying like,
confidence.
"Woof, we're a little behind everyone. We're not as far along as I was hoping we'd be."
Yeah, you dirty dog. And then also just like it's weird that the Wired article wasn't too long ago talking about the PlayStation 5 with Mark Cerny. And remember, like the Wired guy asked Mark Cerny about like, so is it possible for games to kind of be split gen, like the game you're producing, Death Stranding? And I think the article said Mark Cerny winked 17 times at the voice recorder. And it's like, I guess not. All right.
Well,
I'm sure maybe there still will be a next gen version. Who knows?
Yeah.
And it could slip to next gen anyway. We still have no idea, but super exciting.
Do you think the connections thing is going to be purely thematic, or do you think there will be some sort of online component?
Well, they've
Oh,
talked.
that's interesting.
There was a mention, and there's been obviously no explanation fully on how this works, but they've said that this game has a like unique take on co-op.
Did they? Mm-hmm. Huh.
I'm going to guess it's basically Dark Souls co-op where people can leave stuff for each other.
Or
That
maybe
could
you're
be.
carrying that body on your back as your
Co-op friend.
who's like not playing at the time.
I'll play as the backpack.
Or it could be something with like the BTs, right? Like you might be able to invade somebody else's game,
Like
or
Dark Souls.
because they're all connected to something. They have like those strings. So if you're going to make something kind of connected to the larger theme, it seems like it would be these abstract connected things that can't get free of their connection, or whatever the hell Mads Mikkelsen's talking
I hope
about.
it's playable offline entirely.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Do you think Mads Mikkelsen and Norman Reedus like each other? You think they're pals?
Yeah, I think
Nice.
I think it'd
That's
be
good to know.
I think that's such a fun little community, and they know that they'll get a crap load of attention from the internet every time Kojima tweets out a sandwich with a picture of their face on it or whatever. Like, by the way, I got a kick out of this. Kojima retweeted somebody else who just said, Death Stranding has a female character called Fragile and another called Mama. Paging Dr. Freud. Like that Kojima retweets that. All right, buddy.
Then goes, nice.
That was a mistranslation. I don't think he understood what he was
They're talking about my characters. Cool.
That was just a clip from a larger show called The Game Informer Show. You can find it on iTunes, Google Play, or GameInformer.com. We take the fun opportunities and exclusive information from Game Informer magazine and boil it into a show that airs every Thursday with exclusive cover story information, developer interviews, a lot of fun stuff. So come love games with us.